Good afternoon, Virgo. Anna speaking. Someone's breaking down right now, alone, facing what their choices have cost them, and you're the only thought keeping them from complete collapse. The regret is crushing them. The realization of what they threw away is destroying them. And you're what they're holding on to. You're what they're praying for. You're the only thing that feels like redemption in their wreckage. This is a moment where their devastation becomes visible. Listen, because what you do right now determines whether their breaking becomes healing or becomes permanent damage. Tears that come from regret are different than tears that come from sadness. Sadness tears are about something lost. Regret tears are about something they lost themselves, something they threw away, something they had and chose wrong and now they can't get back. Regret tears are sharpest tears because they come with knowledge that situation could have been different if they'd chosen differently, if they'd done differently, if they'd shown up differently. This person is drowning in regret, is realizing with clarity that comes too late what they had, what they were risking, what they were throwing away while they were throwing it away. And that realization isn't gentle, isn't soft, isn't something they can process quietly. It's breaking them open, is forcing them to confront a magnitude of their failure, their mistake, their colossal miscalculation about what mattered and what didn't matter. The cost of their choices is visible now, is undeniable now, is crushing them under its weight. They can see clearly now what they couldn't see or didn't want to see before, which is that every choice they made that prioritized something else over you, every moment they didn't show up, every time they chose themselves or someone else or their own comfort over your well being, all of those choices came with cost. And that cost is you, is losing you, is having you as memory instead of as present reality, is having to live knowing that they broke something irreplaceable, that they hurt someone who didn't deserve to be hurt, that they threw away a person who loved them because they were too scared or too selfish or too incapable of being who they needed to be. And you're what they pray for. In their lowest moments, in their breaking moments, in moments when regret is loudest, you're the one they think about. You're the one they want. You're the one they're begging from universe to give them second chance, to give them redemption, to give them way back to you. This is not manipulation necessarily. This is them genuinely broken by understanding that they lost something irreplaceable. This is them genuinely in pain about what their own choices created. This is them genuinely desperate for a way to fix what they broke. But desperation doesn't make their choices less real, doesn't undo what they did, doesn't erase the damage they caused. Regret doesn't erase responsibility. Prayer doesn't erase the hurt they inflicted. Let me show you what's really happening in them and what's really being asked of you. First, they're experiencing collapse of whatever defenses they've been using. They've probably been telling themselves stories that made their choices make sense. Stories that justified why they didn't show up, why they made choices that hurt you, why they prioritized themselves, stories that made them feel okay about their behavior. But those stories are collapsing, are crumbling under weight of reality that they can't deny anymore, are becoming transparent as lies they told themselves to avoid facing who they actually are, what they actually did, what their actual impact was. And when stories collapse, when defenses crumble, what remains is truth. Unfiltered truth. Truth about themselves they don't want to face. Truth about impact they had on you. Truth about how they failed you. Truth that they're trying to escape by praying for you, by focusing on you, by making you their redemption. Second, they're experiencing what actual loss feels like. Before, loss was theoretical, maybe, was something that happened, but that they were protecting themselves from fully experiencing through distraction, through justification, through not allowing themselves to actually feel the weight of it. But now they're feeling it, are experiencing full force what it means to have lost you, are understanding that you're not coming back, that this is real, that their choices actually had permanent consequences that they can't undo, can't fix, can't manipulate away. This loss is destroying them because loss means accepting that they did this, they created this, they're responsible. There's no one else to blame. There's no external circumstance to point to. It's them, their choices, their failure. Third, they're experiencing hope that they shouldn't be experiencing. Hope that you might forgive them, hope that you might come back, hope that their prayer will be answered and they'll get redemption through having you again. And hope is what's keeping them from complete collapse. But hope is also dangerous. Hope is keeping them from doing actual work they need to do, which is grieving, which is accepting, which is rebuilding themselves without you as the prize at the end. Hope is keeping them in liminal space where they're not moving forward and they're not accepting loss. They're just waiting and praying and hoping for rescue. Fourth, they're experiencing what depression looks like when someone realizes they destroyed something beautiful. The tears, the regret, the inability to function, the way they can't stop thinking about you, the way you're the only thought that brings any comfort because you're the only solution to their pain in their mind. This depression can be dangerous, can lead to self-harm, can lead to obsession, can lead to behavior that's destructive to both them and you because they're trying to fill void of your absence with desperate attempts to reconnect, to convince you, to prove they've changed. This reflection invites you to consider, do you believe their tears are genuine? And does your belief in their genuineness obligate you to respond? Now let me address what they're asking of you without saying it explicitly. They're asking you to rescue them. They're asking you to acknowledge their pain. They're asking you to soften, to forgive, to give them chance they don't deserve to get, to prove they can be different. They're asking you to be their redemption, to be the person who saves them from their own destruction, to be prize they get to work toward, to be the answer to their prayers, to be hope made flesh. And they're presenting this as gift to you, as if taking them back, comforting them, being available while they fall apart, as if that's something you should want, something you should choose, something that serves you. But it doesn't serve you. Their redemption is not your responsibility. Their healing is not your job. Their pain about their choices is consequence they need to face. And you providing comfort while they face it is actually preventing them from facing it fully, from learning what they need to learn, from changing in ways that actually stick. When you rescue someone from consequence of their choices, You prevent them from understanding the consequence. You short circuit the learning. You teach them that if they cry hard enough, if they regret deeply enough, if they pray sincerely enough, they can escape responsibility and someone will come save them. That's not love. That's preventing growth. That's enabling continued patterns because you're making the consequence of their choices disappear through your compassion. Second, they're asking you to make their feelings your priority. They're asking you to focus on their pain instead of your own healing. They're asking you to set aside what they did to you so you can comfort them about what they did to themselves. They're asking you to make their emotional state your responsibility. But your responsibility is to yourself. Your responsibility is to your healing. Your responsibility is to moving forward. Their pain is theirs. You compassionate about it. You might wish them well. You might hope they figure it out. But their pain is not your obligation to fix. Third, they're asking you to prove they're worthy of redemption. They're asking you to come back so they can point to you and say, "See, I'm redeemable. See, I'm capable of being loved. See, I didn't irreparably damage everything." They're asking you to be evidence of their worth. But your worth being damaged by their choices doesn't mean their worth is erased. Your leaving doesn't mean they're worthless. They can be worthy of love while simultaneously being not right for you, while simultaneously having caused damage you can't repair, while simultaneously needing to do work that doesn't include you. This reflection invites you to consider, what boundaries do you need to set to protect yourself from being their redemption arc? Now, let me address what you actually owe them when they're in this state of destruction. First, you owe them nothing, not rescue, not comfort, not forgiveness, not second chance. You owe them nothing. What happened between you, what they did, the pain they caused, that created a situation where you're allowed to prioritize yourself completely. You're allowed to step over their pain if stepping over their pain means protecting your own peace. You're allowed to walk away while they're falling apart. You're not responsible for catching them. But if you're moved to offer something, if you choose to offer something out of genuine care, not out of obligation, here's what you can offer. You can tell them the truth. Your pain is real, and it's consequence of your own choices. I can't be the solution to your pain. You have to do that work yourself. I wish you well in it. You can have compassion without action. You can understand their hurting without trying to fix their hurting. You can acknowledge their regret without accepting it as reason to rescind your boundaries. You can suggest they get professional help. You need therapy. You need support to process this. I'm not equipped to be that support, but there are people who are. You're directing them toward help without making yourself the help. You can be honest about what happened between you. You hurt me. What you did mattered. The pain you caused was real, and I've had to accept that and move forward. You now have to do the same. But what you don't have to do is pretend their pain erases what they did. What you don't have to do is soften. What you don't have to do is take them back because they're falling apart. What you don't have to do is be their salvation. Second, you owe yourself protection. You owe yourself boundaries. You owe yourself clarity about what you will and won't accept. You owe yourself commitment to healing that's not interrupted by their drama. This might mean limiting contact. This might mean not responding when they reach out. This might mean blocking them completely. This might mean telling them directly, I need you to stop contacting me while I heal. When I'm ready, I'll reach out. You're allowed to prioritize your peace over their comfort. You're allowed to put your healing first. You're allowed to say no to their requests for presence while they fall apart. Third, you owe yourself honesty about whether their tears are manipulation or genuine. Some people cry genuine tears about genuine regret. Some people cry as tactic to get what they want. Some people cry because they genuinely feel pain, but that pain is selfish pain, is pain about themselves, not pain about what they did to you. Listen to what they're crying about. Are they crying about hurting you? Or are they crying about losing you, about having to face themselves, about consequences affecting their life? Are they centering your pain or are they centering their pain? This tells you whether tears are coming from place of actual remorse or from place of selfish devastation. Real remorse includes awareness of impact on you. Selfish devastation is all about how it's affecting them. This reflection invites you to consider, if they never reach out again, would you feel relief or would you feel you failed them by not rescuing them? Let me address what happens if you stay no contact while they're suffering. First, they'll probably escalate, might reach out more, might try different approaches, might try to make you feel guilty about not responding to their pain, might tell you they're falling apart, might hint at self-harm, might do things designed to make you feel responsible for their suffering. This is when you need to be strongest. This is when you need to maintain boundary most rigidly. Because if you break now, you teach them that escalation works, that desperation gets results, that they just need to hurt enough and you'll come back. You're not responsible for preventing their self-harm. You're not responsible for stopping their suffering. You're not responsible for them, period. Second, they might spread story that you're cruel for not responding to their pain. Might tell mutual friends that you abandoned them, might make themselves victim of your coldness. This is them trying to manipulate you through social pressure. Let them tell their story. Let people judge. You know truth. You know what happened. You know you did what you needed to do for your own well-being. Third, their pain will eventually diminish. Not because they moved on from you, but because constant pain is unsustainable. Their nervous system will eventually regulate. Their desperation will eventually soften. Their obsession will eventually lose some of its grip. And in that space of diminished pain, they might actually start doing work, might start therapy, might start processing, might start learning from their choices instead of just being devastated by them. But they won't do that work if you're rescuing them. They'll stay in seeking rescue mode. Fourth, you might find that no contact allows you to heal too. Allows you to process your own pain, allows you to stop being pulled back into their emotional state, allows you to focus on your own recovery instead of managing their crisis. No contact is often what both people need, even though it feels cruel to the person still loving. Someone's breaking right now. They're crying about what they lost. They're praying you'll give them second chance. You're all they want. But their want doesn't obligate your response. Their pain doesn't obligate your rescue. Their tears don't obligate your forgiveness. You can wish them well. You can hope they figure it out. You can be compassionate from distance. But Their redemption is not your job. Their healing is not your responsibility. Their choices had consequences. Let them face consequences. Let them fall apart if falling apart is what needs to happen. Let them rebuild without you as the prize. Their tears are real. Your need to protect yourself is also real. Honor your need, even when they're falling apart, even when they're praying for you, even when their regret is destroying them. You matter more than their pain. Remember that